Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Now, how do you all feel on this fine Thursday afternoon? Are you all relaxed? Are you all sitting down comfortably? Are you all refreshed with a lovely cup of coffee or tea or something cool with ice cubes in it? Good. In that case, there's only one thing left to do before we can get started on today's lesson. You know what that one thing is, don't you? Yes, I know that you know. And you all know that I know that you all know. So, animals, assemble. Animals, come together. Animals, heal. Okay, there you all are. Margot, wake up. Okay, now, instructions for the animals, commands for the animals, orders for the animals. Right then, Gusti, how are you today? Are you feeling good? Do you feel full of energy? Yes? Ah, well, that's not a good thing, really. Normally it is, but now for us, here and now, that's a negative thing. So what I'd like you to do is to copy Margot. Look at Margot and learn from her. Look at the way she moves. She doesn't. Look at how alert she is. She isn't. Look at how excited she is. She isn't. Now, I'd like you to take Margot as your example. Try and imitate her. Do nothing for the next 15 minutes. Okay? Just sit down and relax. Don't jump on the furniture. Don't bark like a mad thing. Just sit down and relax. Conserve your energy. And then, when we're finished with the lesson, you can explode like a rocket. All you have to do is wait. Conserve your energy. And then, when the lesson's over, boom shankar. All right, just think about that, Gusti, okay? So, remember the main message, no dancing, okay? And now, on to Margot, that is, if she's awake. Margot, are you awake? Are you in the land of the living? Are you with us, Margot? Ah, you are. Good. Now, I'm not going to ask you to do much, but what I am going to ask you to do is very, very important. Sleep as much as you fancy. Sleep as much as you want, but don't block the TV screen, okay? The people need to see the screen. That's why the television has got a screen. If it didn't have a screen, it'd be a radio. So, sleep all you want, but keep out of the way of the screen, okay? Good. And now last, but by no means least, Nigel. Good old Nigel, the hairiest guinea pig I know. Now, Nigel, you're a great bloke. Lots of fun. We all know that. But there is one thing that you do which causes problems. Not all of the time, no, but during the lessons. So, Nigel, I know that you're a great bloke and lots of fun, but you're also the source of all the noise pollution in the studio. So, for everyone's sake, for everyone watching at home, and for Choba, the sound engineer, especially for Choba, the sound engineer, have a heart, Nige, and keep a lid on the noise, please. It's only for a quarter of an hour, and then you can revert to your normal, noisy self and make as much noise as you want for, what? Well, for another 24 hours. So, it's not a bad deal, is it? You keep a lid on things for 15 minutes and then you get to snort, grunt, squeak and yodel, if you feel like it, for 24 hours until we meet again tomorrow afternoon. So thanks, Nige. Thanks for keeping the noise down. Okay, all right. Fish and chips, fish fingers, fish cakes, table tennis. Well, that's that done and dusted. So now we can get on with today's show. Are you all ready? Yes? Well then, let's dive in. Now, what happened yesterday? Well, lots of things happened yesterday. I went home to my wife. Alfredo went home, changed into some jeans and a t-shirt and went to the pub. Can we be more specific? More specific, not so general. Okay, what happened yesterday at the end of the lesson? That's better. That's more specific, isn't it? Well, as I'm sure you all remember, yesterday we ran out of time and we didn't have time to finish our exercise, did we? No. So, let's have another look at the exercise we were doing, okay? Now, here are the sentences that we were looking at. And I'm assuming now that you all remember what our task was, what it was that we had to do. You do all remember, don't you? Well, just to make sure, let me tell you again. We were talking about word order in English and the fact that it normally follows the pattern of S plus V plus O. Subject, then verb, then object. Now, all we had to do in the exercise was listen to how bad the sentences sound when we don't follow the S-V-O pattern. Then we had to correct the sentences so that they followed the correct pattern. So, here for your visual and audio pleasure are the sentences once again. Number 1, likes Dolomite cars. Number 2, drinks beer Alfredo every night. Number 3, Gav English teaches. Number 4, Muddy director is a. Number 5, Muddy helicopter pilot not is a. Number 6, sound engineer is Chubba a. Number 7, taxi driver not is Chubba a. Number 8, ping pong not Roger Federer plays. Okay, now we looked at some of the sentences, didn't we? And we saw that the first few were very simple indeed. The first sentence has got 3 elements. One element is the subject, one is the verb, and one is the object. The only problem is that they're in the wrong order. So, all we have to do is change the order. S plus V plus O, Dolomite likes cars. Simple. Next. Well, the second one is also simple, isn't it? The only difference here is that we also have an adverb of time in the sentence. Something which tells us how often, how frequently Alfredo does what he does. But that's not a problem. Most adverbs of time go at the end of the sentence, which means that this sentence is also a pretty easy one too. S plus V plus O plus adverb of time. Alfredo drinks beer every night. Simple. Next. And we're back to another very simple one, aren't we? Again, this sentence has got 3 elements, a subject, a verb, and an object. So all we have to do is make sure that they're in the right order. Gav teaches English. Done. Next. Now the next one is a little bit different, isn't it? Do you all remember what the difference is with this sentence? Yes. That's right. This sentence uses the verb to be, which means that there's no object. The verb to be is a linking verb, which means that we don't use it with an object. But even if this sentence is different, even if this sentence uses a verb which has no object, it's still simple for us to see the correct form, isn't it? As usual, we start with the subject, then follow with the verb, in this case because we're talking about Muddy, the third person singular, and we all remember that the third person singular form of the verb to be is. And then, instead of an object, we finish the sentence with the information which completes the sentence. We're telling people what Muddy's job is, what he does for a living. So we remember that because we're talking about someone's job, we need to remember the indefinite article. Do you all remember? It's not I'm teacher, it's I'm a teacher. Chubba's not sound engineer, he's a sound engineer. Carlo Gabor is not musician, Carlo Gabor is a musician. So in this sentence, Muddy is a director. Easy, good, on we go. And now we've got another sentence about Muddy, and this one also uses the verb to be. Okay, we can handle that, as we know. But this sentence also features a negative. Look, there's the word not. Okay, but that shouldn't cause us any problems, should it? No, of course not. Okay, so we know that we start with the subject, and the subject is modi. Good. Okay, what comes next? Well, it's the verb, isn't it? Okay, so just like the previous sentence, we've got modi is. Good. And now what? Well, now we get the negative. Now we follow the verb to be with not, and we get is not. Or, because we all prefer the short, abbreviated version, isn't. Okay, so modi isn't. And what now? Well, this sentence is practically the same as the previous one, isn't it? There we were talking about what modi's job is, about what he does. Here we're talking about what his job isn't, about what he doesn't do. So, we follow the verb to be in the negative with the information which completes the sentence. And, just like before, we remember that we need to use the indefinite article with this job too. So, modi isn't a helicopter pilot. Wonderful! Fantastico! Magnifique! Wunderbar! Marveloso! And so on we go. So, what about the next one? Well, the next two are really easy, aren't they? They're the same as the two sentences about modi, aren't they? It's exactly the same structure. We're using the verb to be to talk about a third person singular. We're telling you what Choba does for a living. So, what's the correct answer? Yes, that's right. Start the sentence with the subject, Choba. Follow the subject with the verb to be. In the third person singular, Choba is, and then all we have to do is add the information that tells us what Choba does. And we remember to use the indefinite article because we're talking about someone's job. Choba is a sound engineer. Simple. Great. And what about the next one? Well, it's the same as the other sentence about modi, isn't it? We're using the same structure as before. Now we're telling someone what Choba doesn't do for a living. So it's essentially the same sentence, but with a negative. So once again, where do we start? Yes, that's right. We start with the subject, Choba. Good. And what comes next? Yes, right again. The verb. Third person singular of the verb to be. Choba is. And now what? Correct! The negative, not. And we all love the abbreviated form, don't we? Is not becomes isn't. Choba isn't. And now, how do we finish the sentence? Well, to finish the sentence, we have to provide the information about what he doesn't do for a living. And we remember that it's a job. So we have to remember the indefinite article. Choba isn't a taxi driver. Done. Simple. Okay, and now the next one. A sentence about a famous sportsman. Possibly the most famous sportsman in the galaxy, Roger Federer. Okay, so let's have a look at the sentence. What's the first thing that we notice is wrong? Yes, you're right. The sentence should start with a subject, not with an object. So the sentence starts with Roger Federer. He's the subject of this sentence. Okay, so we have to remember the pattern we have to follow. S plus V plus O. But in this sentence, there's a negative, isn't there? Look, we can see the word not. Okay, well, that's not a problem for us, is it? No, we know that we need to use an auxiliary verb to make negative sentences and ask questions in the present simple. So we remember that we have to use the verb to do, but we don't just slap do into the sentence, do we? No, we all know that the third person form of do is does. And we know that when we make does negative, it becomes does not. Or the version we all prefer, the short, abbreviated version, doesn't. Okay, we also know that the auxiliary verb precedes the main verb. It comes before it, which means that so far we've got Roger Federer doesn't play. And we all remember that we made the third person singular changes to the auxiliary verb. So the main verb stays in the infinitive. It's play, not plays. Good. And what's left? That's right, the object. What doesn't Roger Federer play? Easy, ping pong. Roger Federer doesn't play ping pong. Brilliant. And on that note, we're going to leave you. Yes, it's time for us to go, which means that it's time for the animals to come back to life. Well, Apart from Margot, that is. Okay, people, have fun for the rest of the day. Enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Remember to check out the website, www.m5tv.hu. There's a lot of new vocabulary this week, so it's probably a good idea to have a quick look. All right, have fun, have some more coffee, and I'll see you all tomorrow. See you later. Bye.